Blast me to Magaria! It's time for the Mad Merlin's Warhammer 40,000 Imperium journey. Issues 21 and 22. Part 1, Lore and Building. Hello and welcome back to the Mad Merlin's Imperium journey. So, we've got a double issue today, so 21 and 22. We're going to take a look at the lore and the models, and we're going to build one in this video, and then in our next video we will be doing playthroughs. So 21 part 2 will include 21 playthrough, and issue 22 playthrough will be in its own video. So this is our issues, but let's take a look at our frames first of all. So over issues 21 and 22, we get a full box of 10 Skittari, which can be built as either Rangers or Vanguard. The magazine will be telling us to build them as Rangers, but of course, if you prefer, you can build them up as the Vanguard options. I must admit, I do like the Vanguard helms much better than the Skittari hoods, but that's just personal preference for me. So you get 3 frames, 1 in issue 21 and 2 in issue 22, plus 15 25mm bases, not 15, sorry, 9 20mm bases, 25mm bases, and 1 small oval base for the arquebus. So let's take a look at each frame individually. So this is our first frame, which is the one we actually get in 21. So we get a total of 4 complete torsos and legs, plus various gun equipment options. We got the plasma caliber. We got a spare galvanic rifle and a spare I can't remember the name of the other gun. I think it's phosphor rifle, something like that. No, radium carbine, that is it, radium carbine. But we do get all the, pretty much all the head options on here. We get 5 of the Vanguards, and we get pretty much all of the Ranger heads there. There's what they look like on the other side. So you've got the backpack there for the plasma caliber with its fuel cell there. And we got the backpack option for the arc rifle. And there we have all the heads. So each one is slightly unique, with bits of different techno gubbings coming out and different sizes and shapes of lenses. You got one guy with a rather large monocle over one eye there. You've got one guy who actually has 2 eyes on one side and one on the other. And some are just standard goggled heads. Okay. Our second sprue, which is one of the 2 that comes in issue 22, is a sprue containing your transuranic arquebus, your data tether, and your and again more generic Scottari. So you got 1, 2, 3 complete models on this frame. Plus you get alpha heads for the Vanguard, and more Vanguard heads, and some optional bear heads, or as bare as Mechanicus can go. I'm actually going to be using this head in my build guide, which is a Ranger head with the hood rolled down, but the build guide does tell you it is not required in this build kit. And will instead tell you to use this head. But rather nice frame there. Got the all-important pointing arm. Every army must have one. And onto our final frame. So this frame includes our last set of 4 models. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we get some more heads for the Vanguard. And we get all our squad leader equipment on this frame. So we got the taser goad, power sword, arc maul, phosphor pistol, and arc pistol. And then we have just your, we have the Serpentia pistols there as well for the sergeant. Then you have your carbines and your galvanic rifles. So there we go. Right, let's go through issue 21 first. We got a few pieces in here, including a new fold-out sheet. So in issue 21, we get a battle record for our Scottari Rangers, plus a name and title generator. We get our first bit of information about the Adeptus Mechanicus, the Crimson Doom Part 1 for our stories, the Prior Nexus, which is our fold-out, and we have a build guide for our Scottari Rangers. We have 2 new data sheets, 2 for the Space Marines on one sheet, and 2 for the Necrons on the other sheet. And then we also have a playthrough Orbital Defense. So these Scottari Rangers are the mechanical legionnaires of the Adeptus Mechanicus. So they are the frontline soldiers of the Adeptus Mechanicus, armed with an array of finely crafted Martian weapons and enhanced with a range of bionic modifications. They are capable of fighting in the most extreme conditions and securing victory for their Forge World. So it goes into tells how each squad is formed into a mana pool. Each mana pool is then formed into a cohort, and each cohort belongs to a macroclade. Most Scottari have given up their flesh and have added bionic enhancements to their bodies. Got the enhanced data tether, which allows better communication to army leaders. The Alpha, who is the squad sergeant, and the arquebus and galvanic rifles, plus the arc rifle there. So I have named my squads according to the charts here. So they belong to the Eyes of the Omnissiah mana pool. Their cohort are the Guardians of Ramesses, and their macroclade are the Sons of the Omnissiah. The Alpha is Decima MXV, who has enhanced strength. And we've got the Arquebus Carrier, who is Core IV, reinforced spine, so he can handle the recoil of the rifle a lot easier. At the bottom we got ranged kills, so anything that's killed over 30 inches of range. Oh, that's mainly for the Arquebus, so killing anything with the Arquebus, you can tally or make a notable note. And then your battle record, so anything the rest of the unit has killed down here. You also got a space to put your sigil. I'm going to be looking up, seeing if I can find a few alternate ones to do. It does give you a couple of references there, but there's bound to be more if you look online. So we've got our name generator. It's the same as we've had for the Space Marines and Necrons. You've got a D66 table, and you roll once on the first, and then once on the second. And on the other side, we got heroic titles for your tech priests. And you've also got Adeptus Mechanicus epithets. So our first proper bit of lore is all about the Adeptus Mechanicus. So the Adeptus Mechanicus wield a strange and arcane technology weapons of phenomenal power. They prize knowledge above all things, and without a second thought, they will shed oceans of blood, both the enemies and their own, in their endless crusade for its acquisition. So it goes on to tell you a little bit more about how the Mechanicus is formed, their beliefs. The disciples of Machine God, all who belong to the Adeptus Mechanicus, worship the Machine God. The tech priests claim that this divine being gave rise to all technologies, granting humanity the knowledge required to create them. Then we have our first of our Forge Worlds. So we got Mars, which is the red planet, and yes, it is our Mars in the distant future. It was colonized by techno-barbarians and hoarders of all things arcane. So you've got the Scottari, who are your line troops, and the Cult Mechanicus, which is the belief of the Emperor being the divine and all-powerful Omnissiah who has granted the motive force to everything in the galaxy, and is the base religion of the Mechanicus altogether. So we got the first part of our story, Crimson Doom. So the legions of the Novok dynasty have emerged from a hidden dolmen gate and descended upon the imperial world of Volantha even. Crusade fleet Primus has responded to the world's cries for help, dispatching an entire cohort of the Adeptus Mechanicus warriors to confront the invading forces. So this just gives us a quick snippet of the battle in progress. So Skittari Ranger Alpha Sexos 155.51 is leading its squad at the forefront of the battle, and it spots the Necron's overlord and attempts to call in reinforcements. Unfortunately, spoiler alert, it doesn't end well. We'll return to our build guide after we've had a look through issue 22. But our foldout is the Prior Nexus. So we've got the Necron forces within the Prior Nexus, the map of the Prior Nexus, plus the fleets Guilliman sent out. So Fleet Primus went to the galactic southwest and headed mainly towards the Prior Nexus, where something big is going down, because the warp is having trouble accessing this area. So if you read through the war zone, you'll find out it's the Blackstone monoliths that the Necrons have erected, causing the warp to basically no longer exist in that particular area of space. So you can translate just outside of it, but once you get inside, it gets harder and harder for you to transport through the warp. Fleet Secundus headed up to the north towards Cadia in order to secure the Nachman's Gauntlet and explore into the Imperium Nihilus. And then Fleet Tertius headed towards the southwest. Fleet Tertius heads to the southwest and comes into contact with a Cornate fleet, with reports coming in of Demon Primarch Angron sighted. But at the moment they are making their way through Macaria sector and Ultima Macaria. They'll eventually come to planets like Krieg. So all these fleets have come out from Terra. And we got pretty much all the important worlds. You got Armageddon, or Ulanor as it was once known, Elysia, Golgotha, the home of the orcs, Riser, a Skittari Forge world, Katachin, the jungle planet. We got Rin's world in the Reductus sector, where my lovely Crimson Fists come from. Forge world of Agrax, Bane's Landing, the actual Prior Nexus, Nocturne, home of the Salamanders, Badab, Talarn, and many more besides. Over here, it details a little bit more about the Indomitus fleet and how the galaxy is suffering at the cost of the Necrons and the Stillining, if that's even a word. And on the back, we've got the Imperial forces, so your Space Marines, the Adeptus Auroritas, and the Adeptus Mechanicus. So, looking at 22, we learned to paint our Skittari in this issue, so I'll come back to that in a separate video. So, in this issue, we get the datasheet for the Explorator fleets of the Adeptus Mechanicus. We learn about my favourite dynasty of all, the Saltec dynasty, and the Crimson Doom Part 2. We paint our Skittari Rangers, and we have a datasheet for them, and we test them out in their first battle. So, the lore for this issue starts with the Explorator fleets. So, the Adeptus Mechanicus Explorator fleets search the galaxy for ancient human machinery and equipment lost during the Dark Age of technology. These fleets are heavily armed, for the archaeotech they seek often lies deep within the territory of the Xenos foes. Then we go into each of the different, some of the different explorator fleets. So Pentagamma 66Z3, Ventress Sigmata 91, Geinz Monopole, and the fleet Omegon Cruciatus 54-9. So then we have a new bit of lore about the Necron dynasties, the Saltec dynasty. So, ruled over by Pharaon known as Imhotep the Stormlord, this from his crown world of Mandragora, these Saltec are one of the most powerful Necron dynasties in the galaxy. So, for those of you fairly new, the Saltec are the first Necrons to be encountered by the Imperium. Warriors bearing the Saltec colours of silver, black and green had been encountered by the Imperium for quite some time now. One of the first planets to be risen up upon was Sanctuary 101, which is an Adeptus Sororitas homeworld. That goes into explaining a little bit more about the background of the Saltec there. Imhotep the Stormlord, who is a rather charismatic and noble leader. He didn't like the way the previous Pharaon was running the place, so he took over, basically. He has ambitions to unite the Necron race under what he believes to be the correct rule, which is his rule, not Zarek's. He also is, as I said, very noble, and he will often seek out enemy commanders and challenge them to one-on-one fights. The Saltec are also one of the most expansionist of the Necrons. They have absorbed lesser dynasties into their fold and took over entire tomb worlds, just swelling the ranks to be larger than even the uprising Zarekan dynasty. So, last bit of lore is our story. So, part 2 of the Crimson Doom. So, we meet a tech priest by the name of Gyra Demeter, who has received Zexos 155.51's location of the Necron Overlord and start heading towards its destination. Along the way, they're attacked from above by Croissants of Death, the Skittari, not Scottari, the Necron Doomsides. So her mana pool basically includes Electro Priests, Castellan Robots, Breachers, and an Onega Doomcrawler. And the story ends up just as she gets there. The Overlord decides to go, "Oop, bye, I gotta be out somewhere else." But the war for Valantha is far from over. So, the paint guide will be done in issue 22's playthrough video. So we'll return to issue 21 now and look at building. Right, I'm going to show you how to build a Skittari Ranger Alpha and a few little extra tips on the best way to assemble your Skittari and still access all that glorious detail. So our first component is part 49, so we need to locate that, and there it is. So we'll just clip off his feet and at the waist. And we'll clean this up. So, making sure we check for any mold lines, of course. Making sure we don't accidentally take off any detail that we need. Sweaty hands of being in this warm kitchen on a rather nice warm day. Alright, we'll glue these down to the base. Like so. While that's drying in place, we'll cut out the torso. So we want torso 50 and 51. So are they on the same sprue as the feet? I think they are. This one over here. So yeah, 51's there, and there's 50. So we'll cut these out. I'll clean these up off camera. Right, we've cut out and cleaned up 51 and 52. So we just want to make sure we put a little bit of glue. We don't want to run too much, so start it on the area where it's larger and then just drag down across. And then we'll sandwich the two halves together, like so. We'll leave that to dry and we'll start cutting out the remaining components. So we want, doesn't actually say which backpack to use, but there is a picture, so we want the one with the little sensor hanging down here, so part 58. So I want to cut on the areas that are fragile, so bottom of there, top there, and then we can clip the sides there and there. We then want the phosphorus pistol, part 52, and the arc mole, part 57. And then we need to find the head. Like I said in the video, the start of the video, I'm going to be using, I've lost it, there it is, component 120, which is a Ranger Alpha head with the hood rolled down. So I'll just clean up these components and we'll get to the final assembly. So we have all our components clipped out. And now we can start the final assembly. So I'll spot a glue on each of the shoulders, and then we can attach our pistol to one side and the arc maul to the other. You can then glue our head in. You can either have it straight forward, or I like it slightly off to the side so it looks like he's staring down the length of his maul, ready to issue a challenge. Now the backpack, it's up to you whether you glue it on. Personally, I'm going to leave it off, just so I can paint all the details behind it. Just make sure you cover the areas with a little bit of blue tack so you don't get any paint on them. The final assembly is to glue the torso down to the legs, but as you can see, they fit down without any glue. So to make painting the inside of the cape a lot easier, I suggest leaving your models in a sub-assembly like so. Then after you've primed your models with a spray, you can simply take them off and reach all the intricate detail. There we have it. That's how we build a Scottari Ranger. If you follow the guide through the magazine, you'll be able to build the rest of the squad. So we've got the Alpha, the Data Tether, the Arquebus, the Arc Rifle, the Plasma Caliber, and then we have 5 with standard rifles. So that's it for this bumper edition of Warhammer 40,000 Imperium. So we've covered 21 and 22. We've built a Skittari. So I'll be back once I've got the rest of them built up and primed, and we'll do a paint tutorial with issue 22's playthrough. I'll be back in the next video with 21's playthrough. So all what's left for me to do is thank you for watching. Be sure to like, comment, share and subscribe. If you'd like to help the channel out, there's of course an affiliate link for Curtain Games, as well as my Buy Me a Coffee chat link in the description down below. So, thank you again for watching. I'll see you next time for more mad content, and goodbye.